Hi, Drew. It's Kathleen, your CNA. The nurse asked me to come in and give you a modified bed bath. Okay? I'm going to get the equipment and we'll get started. All right. First, you want to make sure, of course, you provide privacy. Now, keep in mind, this skill is called modified bed bath. So you just want to do what they're asking for. In a modified bed bath, you're actually washing their eyes, their face, their arm, their hand, and underarm. It's not a partial bath. It's not a complete bath. Those are totally different types of baths. So for testing, this is called a modified bed bath. You also want to note the equipment that you need for this skill. Once again, of course, you have your wash basin, you have your soap, gloves, a washcloth and towel, and a clean gown. Now we're ready to start the skill. Now, before we start, we want to make sure that we maintain privacy and keeping Drew covered up at all times. I'm going to first make sure that I remove her gown that's on and just kind of get that out of our way. Again, remember, you're taking off linen, so you don't want to put it next to your clothing. Just turn it inside out and just lay it there out of your way for a moment. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead, Drew. Can you push your sleeve up for me? Because I want to make sure whenever I get to your arm. There you go. Okay. Thank you. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put my gloves on in a moment, but the first thing I want to do, because I have water here, I've already tested to make sure it's okay, but I want to check to make sure it's okay with Drew. So we'll have her test the water and verify it's okay in regards to comfort. Is that okay? Okay. All right. Now, before washing, there's those key words before, you want to make sure you put your gloves on. Now, I'm going to start with her eyes. So I'm going to wash her eyes first and then her face. Notice that I'm not going to put soap in the water. And when I'm washing her eyes and face, I'm not going to apply soap. Many of your patients are allergic to different types of soaps, and the skin is extremely sensitive. So you don't want to put soap on the face. So I'm going to wet my rag. Now I'm going to make a mitt. And the purpose of this mitt, when I'm doing her face, is so that we don't have just loose ends that can cause an injury to the eye. So we'll make a mitt on our hand to prevent that from happening. So you just want to fold it around, cuff it under, and you have your mitt. You're going to start with the eyes. We always go from inner to out, okay? Just going to wipe from inner to out. You want to use a different part of the rag when you do the other eye. And now I want to wash the rest of her face. Again, a modified bed bath is all you're doing. If I was doing a complete bed bath, I would do a lot more steps than what you're seeing right now. Again, we're going to make our mitt because we're still up at the face. And then you just want to wash their face. Nice and smooth. Okay. I'm going to lay this here across my basin. You're going to take your towel. You want to nicely just blot dry. Blot means to pat. You don't want to rub the skin, remember? You want to just blot it dry. Just pat it nice and dry. Okay? Now, we're ready to do her arm. Okay? So I'm going to have her lift her arm for me. And you're going to place this towel up under there, and that's to prevent her bed from getting wet. And then I'm also going to use that to dry her arm and her hand. And, of course, her underarm. Okay? Now, with washing her arm and hand and underarm, we're definitely going to put soap on the rag this time. This time you don't need a mitt because there's no area that's in risk of being injured or anything. Okay? We put soap on there. Now we're ready to wash her arm. And just wash it all over. Wash their hands really well, in between their fingers. Okay, and you want to make sure you get up under their arm really well. Now remember, the skill says arm, hand, and underarm. On test say if you just wash their arm and the hand, Don't wash under the arm. You're going to get a no for that step. Remember, you can't do part of a step. You must do the entire step. Now we're going to rinse the exact same way we did in regards to washing. So we're going to rinse her arm off all over. Rinse her hand. Don't forget to go in between her fingers. And of course, we're going to rinse under her arm. Okay? Now we're going to pat dry. Make sure you dry her hands really well. Remember, the skin doesn't like moisture, so we want to make sure it's nice and dry. Don't forget, you have to dry under the arm as well. Okay? You can relax your arm. If you'll lift it just a second, I'll take that out of your way. Okay? Now we're going to go ahead and put another gown on her. If you'll slide your arm in here for me. Thank you. Still maintaining privacy, so you have to keep her covered up. You can relax that arm. Okay, can you put this arm in for me? Thank you. You raise up, I'll fix this behind you. Okay. All right. Once you've done that, now we're ready to go over to the sink, and we're going to empty, rinse, and dry our basin. Okay? So, and we'll come back and get rid of our linen. So let's go over to the sink at this point. Okay, so now we're going to empty, rinse, and dry our basin. And remember, once we've done that, we're going to place it in the designated dirty supply area. Okay? And now we're going to go back and get our linen. Okay? So we're going to get rid of our linen. Once you've done that, now you're ready to remove your gloves. So we're going to take our gloves off, throw them away. You'll say at this point, I will wash my hands. In reality, we would wash our hands. Then you're going to give her her call signal. Drew, we're all done. Here's your call signal. Just give us the call if you need us, okay? The bed, of course, is in its lowest position, and now the skill is complete.